Hey everybody, it's JWittz here from the Pokemon Trading Card Game Show Profit, and I'm here with my first Saturday video, which is Ask J-Wittz. Now the point of these videos is to just answer any question you guys have, whether it's about the trading card game, just about me, maybe something that I've done with the game, just stuff like that to try and help mostly entry-level players kind of learn stuff about the game that maybe I don't talk about in my other videos. I asked you guys last week to just put questions in the comments section below, and I'm just going to skim through the comments section, answer a few. These will last between, I don't know, 10-15 minutes. We'll see how it goes. Probably not much longer than that, and I'll try and answer new questions every week. Now once again, I got a ton of questions, something between 100 and 200, so I can't answer everything, but I'll try and skim over, answer some ones that I thought were interesting as I was reading them, and hopefully I'll help you guys out. I'm also planning on making these videos unedited, so any mistake I make is, I guess, just life. But also just really hope that I can help you guys out and I can run through stuff as quickly as possible this way. So we've got everything up, and I'm going to start it off with a question that I would want to say most asked. I think it was also the most liked comment, and it is a good question. And that is from Mesa da Potato Asia. I'm so sorry if I messed that up. You comment all the time and it's just such a long name. How do you afford all these cards for decks? I realize the really good cards like Yanmega are going for really high prices, and I just can't seem to afford to get 3 Kingdras, 4 Yanmegas, etc. Now this is a really good question, and I think the best way to answer it is to just be honest. Pokemon is not an inexpensive hobby. There are inexpensive ways of going about it. If, for say, just you and your friends just want to play with starter decks, that's really cheap. It would probably cost either of you about $12 each, and maybe you could play with starter decks, get a new starter deck when they come out, and that would just be fine. It all depends on what satisfies you, though. If you want to play competitively, it is a competitive tournament circuit. Now, this can get very confusing, because Pokemon is marketed toward children, but the competitive card game is very adult-oriented in both its reach, the amount of people in different ages that play it, and ultimately its cost. It's an expensive game, just like Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh! Now it's not quite at that level, but expensive decks can be very expensive. A Luxchomp deck last season probably cost around that $300 range. At its height, Magnezone Yanmega is a lot of money. You need 4 Yanmega and 4 Magnezone, and those are all, over $40 at one point. That could be really expensive too. And so I guess I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but you have to understand that it's an expensive game. It can run you anywhere between a couple hundred to $1,000 every couple of seasons just to stock up, get all those cards that you need. There are steps you can take to make it less expensive, but it definitely there's no real get-rich-quick scheme with Pokemon. There's no way to play a deck that just doesn't cost anything. Now, there are some options for decks. Some things that you can do are play an inexpensive deck. For example, right now, Reshifusion, it runs on tin promos that you can get probably under $5 for each of the main attackers. Now, you still may need to, shell a couple of bucks for some of the important trainers like Pokemon Collector and stuff, but sometimes understanding that there can be strong decks that are still inexpensive is one way to go. Reshifusion was the most played deck at Worlds, and honestly, I think if you price everything right, Reshifusion probably costs under $100. Granted, yes, that is a lot of money, but in the competitive scheme, compared to, $300, $400 for a full Magnezone Yanmega deck, that's pretty affordable. Maybe you can save up for it part by part, that kind of thing, but that's just how it goes. Another thing is, because it is adult-oriented, you probably are going to have a job. I don't know how old you are. I don't know how old a lot of you guys are. And I'm sure lots of you are younger than the age that you need to be to have a job. And so all you can really do is, just ask your parents, ask if you can help around the house for a couple of bucks here or there. I don't know how allowance works anymore, but I always remember as a kid thinking that all my friends had more stuff than me and they were more spoiled and they got all the Pokemon cards for free. And that just depends from person to person. If you're still a kid and you don't have, fat stacks of cash from your parents or birthday or whatever, and you just still want to, get into that competitive game, you can probably still get by, you know, playing at League, just playing with a fun deck, and still having a good time. Now, you can't really play competitively without money invested in it, and that is frustrating, but it's just the truth. Aside from doing some things like playing an inexpensive deck and, you know, trying to find the cheapest cards online, which it seems like you're already trying to do, stuff like that, otherwise, there's not too much you can do. There's some things that you can do to save money, but it also means you have to spend a little bit more money. I know that's confusing, but I recommend, like, if you're first getting into the game, buying booster boxes, because you save a lot of money per pack. Most people, when they first get into the game, they want to go to the store, just buy, like, one sealed pack at a time from Walmart, and I'll admit it, I do it all the time. It's fun. Sometimes you see a pack, you just want to open it, it's great. But if you're playing competitively, you would save so much money buying a lot of packs at once instead of shelling out $4 for a single pack. When you buy a booster box, I think the average cost for a pack is like close but not quite to $2 a pack, so you're almost spending half as much if you end up buying all those packs at once. One thing you can do, you know, just save up your money instead of, you know, spending it every time you see a pack in the store. Just save up and buy a booster box, maybe for your birthday, maybe graduation, something like that. What I used to do when I had a job is I would shell a certain amount over to the side and I would just keep it and say, hey, I'm saving this much up for Pokemon, and it worked out well for me. I still had money to buy my practical things, but I just saved a little bit on the side. Now, granted, if you don't have a job, it's hard. I don't know what to tell you. That all depends on your own personal circumstances and where your money is coming and stuff like that. One last thing I'll do, and I know I'm totally ADD on this, I will get a lot better at this format, but trading helps a lot. I recommend looking into both Pokegym and Pokebeach's trade threads on their forums, because those are good ways to get cards that you need. Different people value different stuff differently, and trading cards is a good way where you can get new cards of the cards that you have that maybe somebody valued and you didn't. I did that for a long time. I've made hundreds of trades now online, and while it does get a little bit intimidating at first, you have to make trades, you have to send cards to people you don't know, you have to talk to people on the internet. Once you get comfortable with that, it can help a lot. Trading stuff, you know, like primes, level X's that you don't want but somebody else does, could really benefit you in the long run. Aside from that, it's tough. There's no real cheap way to get into competitive Pokemon, unfortunately. But you can, you know, take some of those steps, and it might be a little bit closer to affordable. I hope I helped. Next question, I'll try and go through them a little bit more quickly, but that was the big question I wanted to get to today. First time for me to attend a Battle Roads. What is something I need to expect or look forward to? That's Black Spotted Zebra. Well, look forward to having a good time, I'd hope. But I have a video for Profit that I just posted, and that tells you all the decks to look out for. But as far as the actual experience, and I know this sounds mean, but don't expect to come out a winner right away. My first tournament, I won 1 game and lost my next 4, and that's when I got right back in 2008. Like, I thought I understood everything, and I didn't do well. It just takes time to get used to it. If you come into it with the expectation of just having a good time, hey, I'll meet some people, introduce myself, that should really help you out. Other than that, I would just say, you know, expect to meet these new people, have a good time, enjoy the best trading card game community that there is, and I really wish you the best. Next question. Here's a question. When did you first get into Pokemon cards, and why did you take a break around the EX period? I've been playing Pokemon cards since they came out. I just happened to be born into that generation. I was very interested in the card game, and that was a lot of fun for me. I started playing the actual cards right away. I just, you know, I collected for a little bit, and I, you know, just one day decided to read the rule book, and I read it. I found out there was a card game involved. Me and my friend decided to play together, and we liked it a lot. Then we found out there was a league at Toys R Us that you could go to play, and we played there. We started, you know, just getting more and more into the game, just playing small tournaments and stuff, and it worked that way. And another thing that got everybody else in the game, and then made them want to play me, was the Pokemon Game Boy game that taught you how to play the trading card game. And that is part of the reason why I'm so excited for the online program, because now, not only is it something that everybody will have, because back in the day, every kid had a Game Boy, everybody had Pokemon, and so almost everybody was interested with this trading card game, Pokemon game. And so now that it's on the internet with this Pokemon trading card game online, literally anyone can learn how to play Pokemon and just get into it. Now, not everything is free. Like in that game, you can slowly get packs and build whatever you want. In this game, you have to invest a little money in pack codes or packs if you want more cards, but the fact that anybody can play, even with just structure decks, they can play other people online, and eventually the ranking system will match them with people at their same skill level. I think it's great. I think it's going to be awesome. Anyways, that's why I started getting into the game and playing other people who were slowly getting into the game too. Stopped around the EX series because I thought, oh, I'm getting too old for Pokemon. I actually didn't even get Ruby or Sapphire the games. They're the only Pokemon games I haven't played yet. I didn't like the generation. I still don't, by the way, and I've learned to appreciate a lot of Pokemon. There are some cool Pokemon like Flagon and Luxray, but there are, like, the third generation is the worst, in my opinion, by a good amount. Anyways, I thought it was too cool for Pokemon. I wanted to get into more adult games like Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh! I played Yu-Gi-Oh! And competed with that for a while. I enjoyed the game. I think it's a good game, depending on the format. Some cards get broken, but I like the idea that everything's legal and bans just shift out the metagame. I like that because you can take like a proactive approach. If something's too good, then you can take it away right away. I like that, and it shows that the game has a little responsibility for that competitive edge. Did not like the community very much, though, and did not like that things got very expensive toward the end. I think I'd still be playing it if it didn't get... I don't know. I would probably still be interested in it if I didn't get so interested back in Pokemon, but that's why I took a break. Next question. I feel discouraged about playing the trading card game because it seems as though I need to have a very specific deck with certain Pokemon in order to get anywhere competitively. Do you have any tips or advice for people who want to play the trading card game for fun, using cards they like? Thanks in advance. And that's from Plushu. I have not been announcing names. I'm sorry for that. I'll try to for these next questions. But if you recognize your question, you'll know that I said your question. Anyways, Plushu, your question is a very complicated one, and people argue about it all the time. People, as far as competitive gaming, if you are playing solely to win, and not everybody, obviously, I play to win. I don't play, only to win. That's not the only reason I come in. I could lose and still have a good time, but I play with the intention of playing the best deck that I can with the best combination and winning. And some people can transcend that, and I really appreciate that mindset, because I think that's what the game's all about. But some people like me, I just like to compete. I want to play the best thing there is. If you don't want to play the best thing there is, that's fine, and I think if you keep playing, you can get stuff to work. And sometimes it can be really good and unexpected. I would not expect that your random card that you like the most can be good, but it can happen sometimes. Take Ross, for example. Maybe you liked Vileplume Reuniclus so much that you wanted to put a deck together and you got it to work. That would be great, and you'd end up doing awesome. Now, not every random card is great. I know there's, Pokemon that I like. I've liked Wigglytuff for a long time. Wigglytuff hasn't been playable for ever, since the first one was released. I just can't get myself to play a Wigglytuff deck. Or, I'm trying to think of some other Pokemon that I really like that are never good. Ditto has... Well, Ditto... It's hard. You can't really add much to Ditto, but Ditto has not been playable for a long time either. Just random stuff like that. There are Pokemon that I like that aren't good, but if you can find one that you like and you think you can work it into a deck, then do that. Play locally at tournaments, and just come into the mindset knowing that because it's a competitive game, you might not win, but you might have the most fun. There's people in my local tournaments, they show up to every tournament, every year, they're, always there, always playing their own unique concepts. A lot of them don't even do well. There's players that do bad at every single tournament and still have a good time, because it isn't always about winning. Now, this show is about teaching you what decks are winning, so I know that can be contradictory, but I would like to tell you guys that this game is fun, and you can play it any way you want. You don't just have to play the best decks. You can have a great time building something random, and if it's a Pokemon you like, and you keep working with some of the strategies that I tell you, maybe just having a good supporter line or something, then that can work out for you. I know it's discouraging to say, well, your random deck can't win, but all I will say is just don't expect to win, but expect to have fun. If it's more fun for you playing a random deck, then do that. When I first got into the game at League, I played all these crazy random decks. Some of them were good, and you know what? I enjoyed that a lot. I look back at it fondly. I wouldn't mind making random decks again. So, just don't get discouraged. Know that it's a competitive game. Different cards are going to be better than others, but just play your best, and you'll have a good time no matter what if you come in with that intention. I'm probably going way longer, but it's alright. I'm having fun with it. Hey Josh, longtime fan, first time question asker, would you give me a shout out? This is X Impulse, I remember this one. Nah, just kidding. My real question is this. What is the best way of getting a higher Premier rating? The more tournaments, the better, or is it subjective? And that's from XN Polls. And sure, I'll give you a shout out. XN Polls does pack openings. I actually think he does a really great job with it. He's got good editing and stuff. And my girlfriend Renee knows more about him than I do because she collects too. But anyways, I noticed that you're trying to get into the card game. Sorry, it's really hot in here. And I guess what I can tell you is this. If you want a higher Premier rating, it comes with both quality and quantity. You obviously have to be able to attend a lot of different tournaments. For me, last year, I only attended 2 Battle Roads over the whole year. I didn't go to any of the later Battle Roads because I didn't think the format should have existed. And it eventually did change. I was happy about that. I only went to 2 at the beginning of the year because it was a small tournament. I was getting into college, that kind of stuff. But I went to 7 cities, 2 states, a regional, nationals, and worlds. So I did end up hitting a lot of tournaments in bulk, I guess you could say. I guess if you want a higher Premier rating, you're going to have to attend as many things, city and above, that you can. And I think you're from the UK, so that changes a lot of things. I don't know how your structure goes, but it basically is hit all the tournaments that you can reasonably hit. But more important than that is playing consistently well. Now this can go 2 ways. Either, you can either consistently do decent, you can do very good at one tournament and still do okay at the rest. Basically, you just have to play above average, keep making top cut, and keep doing well. And your rating will keep going up as you naturally win. Now, one thing, though, you gotta be worried about is just because you do really well at one point in the year doesn't mean that you're just fine. You might do bad at the rest of the year, and that could offset things. 2 seasons ago, not last season, but the one before that, I did great at cities. I did really well. I had something like a 1750 rating, which is very good after cities. To put that in perspective, this season, where I ended up qualifying for Worlds, I had only 1690 something. So you can do a lot better at one point. But then at states, I bombed states. I want to combine 7 and 7 at states, and that ruined my rating. And even though I won regionals after that and top cut nationals, my rating was very close, but not quite to getting an invite. So it definitely does just come up to consistency. You have to keep doing well, and you have to hit a lot of events, but if I had to pick one or the other, I would rather play better than hit more tournaments. I hope that helps. It just all comes in time. As you play more, you do better, hit more events, but being able to have friends that you can carpool with to get to different events, or a car of your own, and ample gas money does help. Next up, what cards are tournament legal and what cards are not? That's from Airtight Airsoft. This is just an easy question. Cards from this set, Heart Gold, Soul Silver, and past that are legal right now. Pokemon is very different than some card games. It has a different format every year. That way, things are always interesting, and you don't always have to deal with, one card being too powerful for too long. For example, last year there were SP cards, SP Engine, it was really strong. People started getting tired of it, so after the rotation it doesn't exist anymore. Now that does mean that you always have to buy new cards and that your old cards aren't playable for competitive tournaments anymore, but once again, Pokemon is a competitive game and it has a very competitive nature. I hope I helped. Hey JWittz, I have a question for you. While I'm not a newer player, I still have trouble deciphering a card that a lot of road decks are being based around at my league. Rainbow Energy from Heart Gold, Soul Silver. It's being used to abuse Roserade's Pokepower in order to both confuse and poison the opponent's active at the same time. However, apparently, it cannot be used with Rain Dance, Inferno Fandango, and Skarmory's Steel Coat Attack. Why is this? Why are some cards able to abuse Rainbow Energy and others are not? Dan the Brain. And Dan, I have the perfect answer for you. It's right on the card, and I'm not mocking you. I didn't know this for a while too. Somebody had to point this out to me, but right on the card, very last sentence, I think it's, while not in play, Rainbow Energy counts as a colorless energy. And that's basically it. So when you want to use Inferno Fandango, you can't attach Rainbow because it's a colorless energy in your hand. Or you can't get it back with Jirachi because it's a colorless energy in your discard. When in play, it becomes every kind of energy, so you can abuse those multiple types for something like Roserade. Or there was a Cacturn, I think from Platinum maybe that could do it. There was a Cacturn that could do a very similar thing. But when it's in your hand, you just have to pretend it's a colorless and it can't be abused with things that need type-specific stuff. Hope it helped, Dan. Hey JWittz, wanted to know when you first started playing Pokemon. Okay, to play or just collect the cards? I kind of answered that question already. Sorry, FX US all. Well, I still answered your question, but sorry I can't address it directly. Hey, I wanted to get into the game like many others, but I'm under different circumstances. I'm blind, so my cards have to be brailled. I was wondering if my brailled cards would be a marked card thing and how Pokemon Organized Play would deal with it. Having a reader and the materials in braille would help. Can you think of anything else that Pokemon Organized Play could do to make the game more accessible? And that's from Pauline the Great One. Now, this is a very hard question. It got a lot of thumbs up, so I want to address it, but I'm really not sure what the best answer for you is. I know that there have been sight-impaired players in the past that use translators. I know that there's a few at Worlds. I don't know if there are at Nationals, but I want to say there are. And I want to say that Pokemon wants to do what they can to accommodate these cards for you. Now, honestly, I don't know the exact scenario, and I would try and contact Pokemon Organized Play. Just, have someone help you get to Pokemon.com and try and fill out a support thing. And I would hope that they would answer you and try and help you out. Personally, I just don't have the right connections to know what the best way to deal with that is, and I really hope that there's a way for you to be able to compete in the game and play to your best ability with the condition that you have right now. I honestly don't know the best way to help, but I do wish the best for you. I know Pokemon has tried to accommodate people who have problems with sight or, are immobile in some ways, and so I'm sure that they would do their best to accommodate a player that was interested in something like that. As far as marked cards, I would think it would be marked cards if you put braille on the cards themselves, but honestly, again, I'm not sure. I will let you know if I ever find anything specific from other people, or if somebody knows, they could put a comment in the comment section below. Help out Pauline, because she seems like she's very interested in the game, but, due to circumstances, might not be able to access it the same way that all of us are. I wish you the best, and I hope things work out well. Next question. If you have one ability board in play, can you attach fire energy to more than one different Pokemon? That's from Gary, 19-2000. Yes, you can. You can attach fires wherever you want. It's a party for everyone. M-Board can attach fire energy to whoever during your turn. You could attach 6 fire energy to all 6 of your Pokemon if you were able to during your turn. Just attach wherever you want. Hey Josh, I've literally just started playing Pokemon. I've just recently joined a league. The question I have for you, and throughout, you may be able to help me out at one point in the right direction. In your opinion, what is the best way for a new trainer to become serious about competitive battling, to go about buying the rare cards? Okay, this is another one of those questions that is very, very much the same as the cost question. Best way to do it is just save up, pool money to the side, buy boxes, play cheaper decks, stuff like that. I can't remember all the tips that I gave, but that kind of stuff would help. As far as getting into organized play, go to Battle Roads, get a feel for it, see if you like it. You'll probably meet some better players there and see what they've done, and if that works for you, that works for you. I would definitely recommend that. And it looks like that's my last question. I think that's a good way to end it, because Battle Roads come in about 2 weeks. They should be a lot of fun, and I think that if you're sort of dabbling in competitive play, you watch my videos, but you don't really know what competitive play is all about, try it out. That's a small event. People aren't going to, make fun of you or something if you do bad, because it's just mostly for fun. There's not a lot at stake. There hasn't been in the past, and that's why I haven't gone to Battle Roads as often, but when I first got into the game, I wanted to hit all the tournaments I could, and I think that that's a great way to start. Anyways, if you have more questions about the Pokemon trading card game, either, regular strategy, rulings, ways to get into the game, leave your comment in the comment section below, and I'll do my best to answer a lot of questions next Saturday. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. I'll get a lot better at this in time, but I'll see all you guys next week, and enjoy the video. See ya!